that Dhruva has gone into the forest following the instructions of his mothers. Although in slight anger, but he goes there and he meets Narada, who tries to dissuade him, saying, "You're too small for this." And then he teaches him the nama, the mantra to be chanted. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. He says, you keep chanting this. And that little boy of 5 or 7 had so much determination, did not sway from what he set out to be. So we will continue with Dhruva's tapas today. So I'll start reading.
Yeah.
So on the banks of the river Yamuna, at the holy spot by name Madhuvana, on the banks of the river Yamuna, at the holy spot by name Madhuvana, Dhruva began to perform the penance as taught by Narada. For the first month, he lived on the fruits which were found in the forest. The second month, he sustained himself by eating grass and dried leaves. The third month, only water held his life in the body. During the fourth month, he denied himself even that. The air he breathed was the only food he was taking. He was bent on only one thing, the mantra which he had learned from Narada. Mentally, he repeated the mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And this was all that mattered to the child, who was hardly 5 years old. The Devas found his tapas too terrible. They tried to bring obstacles to his concentration. Wild animals and serpents and even evil spirits were sent to frighten the young child, but he heeded them not. So intense was his absorption that he did not even know that they were there. He was intent only on his tapas. The 3 worlds began to tremble in fear because of it, and the Devas at last went to Narayana. They said, Lord, never has this happened before. All living things, all living beings are finding that they cannot breathe because Dhruva is intent on his tapas. Please have mercy on us and stop this penance. Narayana said, I will now go to him and make him desist from this tapas. It has lasted 5 months. I must bless the child who is my bhakta. I thought we will stop here.
Yeah. You have anything, Artis? You can start.
You can start, Bala. I will. You had something?
I was wondering about the power of this tapas.
Yeah. And even before that, I was just looking at how the Devas found his tapas too terrible and they wanted to disturb him with serpents and wild animals. See, often what happens is we decide that we will do something. I will now chant every day. I will do this. I take up. But then when we set out to do this, so many distractions come in the way. And then my mind will say, today I have to go there. So let me miss this today. It's okay. Tomorrow I will do. Or, nobody, it's okay. Everybody doesn't do. Or I don't do this at all. I'm not at all regular with these kind of things. All these are like those obstacles by Indra. When you are seriously on the path of tapas. When you're seriously on the path of tapas, the obstacles are very different. The idea is to completely dissuade that mind and test that mind, in fact, for that determination. And that is why, if you have to look now, International Yoga is also there. Yoga Day is coming, that the Yama and the Niyamas of the Ashtanga Yoga is given to build that determination, to build that power to persevere and be consistent with what we have undertaken. Okay, so I just thought, that is that determination with whatever we take a sankalpa and then to stick to it and to continue on that path. And then Bala, you can.
Yeah. Actually, it is so beautiful when we see. So first month he lives on fruits. Second month, only grass and leaves. Third month, water. And from the fourth month, he denied himself that. So in Bhagavad Gita also, Bhagavan Krishna says, right, when we start our tapasya, whatever we take, like what Aarti said, any sankalpa, for anything that I am putting in all the energies, when all the energies come together, then that starts, really overpowering, that Shakti, they say universe comes together, right? So it can be anything actually. So our choice is to choose which. Am I doing something? So it can be even that's why we have all these, Kama, Artha, Dharma, Moksha. So towards anything that I take a sankalpa and do, the power of focus is so high that the more our energies are invested in that, the rest become insignificant. Okay, so even in bhakti, that is what we say, right? The more and more and more when we are like Dhruva now is completely in that chant, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So with just that, what happens? The rest become insignificant, yet his body is being sustained by that higher power. Okay, so that is the beauty. When Bhagavan says, you just keep meditating, keep thinking about me, I will take care of your yoga kshema. We see that here. Dhruva is not worried about his body, his what will happen to his system, nothing. He is completely, all his energies are focused on, he wants to meet this Lord Narayana, who can, that is his idea, right? Who, according to Suniti, his mother, according to his mother's advice and sage Narada's advice, he's just praying to Lord Narayana. So the physical body is taken care. So somewhere I heard, when we completely surrender to that higher force, okay, then we don't have to worry at all. What is needed for this body, what is needed for the mind is taken care. Yes, and the force, that higher force will make us do what is needed through this instrument. So Dhruva Maharaj is continuing his tapasya and he is not focusing on the non-essentials. So his tapasya is becoming more powerful. And as he, so third month also, and I think only air, yes, only that. So it is said that Devas found his tapas too terrible. So Devas are all the indriyas, right? Our indriyas, the karmendriyas, and also the panchabhutas, basically, right? So the more one gets, in tune with that cosmic self, what happens is all the devas come under their control. That is why here what happens here beautifully, I would like to read from Guruji Tejomayananji very beautifully. What he says is, in the 5th month, having completely conquered the breath. So basically, even the prana is now everything, Dhruva is now out of all that identification, the physical identification, the pranic identification, the mental identification, nothing. Yes, he is now one with that, he says, the cosmic self. Yes, this is described. So this entire practice is described in the 2nd canto, it seems. He becomes one with the cosmic self and his breath became one with total breath. That Mahashakti, he is just there. So now, so intense was his absorption that he did not even know what was happening. Right? That is what is given here. And the last thing it is said that after, because he did not get dissuaded by any of the other obstacles that were there, he continues to become in sync with the cosmic self. So the more he becomes that, what they said is, even the earth, yes, tilts in the direction where he's standing in one foot. Yeah, that way. So he had his penance was so high, and we always see this Dhruva picture, right, where he stands in the one big foot, right, big foot with his hand held up. So it is symbolically saying that he becomes one with the cosmic self. He did not give importance to any non-essentials, be it sustaining his physical body, be it sustaining all his koshas, or be it all the obstacles that were that came along as part of his tapasya. Nothing. He was one single-minded in the chant. So that gives this whatever, Narayana appears in front of him. So all the devas now are actually running to bring Narayana. So devas who initially thought of giving obstacles to Dhruva are now helping in bringing Narayana to Dhruva. So the same becomes, that's why we say the universe comes together. We say, no, when the Sankalpa is so noble, when it is for with a higher ideal, then the energies come together, and without much of, we putting in so much hard work, it happens. So that's what it is. Here it is said, the entire universe is coming together to bring Narayana to Dhruva.
And also, now when the devas go and approach the Lord says, oh, I will now go him to make him desist from his tapas. The words are that, right? It almost looks like it has lasted 5 months. I must bless the child who is mine. The first sentence sounds like he's telling, oh, this is too much. I need to go and stop him. But then this last sentence shows his compassion. Why he wants to stop him. He can't bear that his bhakta is going through so much, physical difficulty, and his mind is so devoted and into him that now he feels forced to go to him. No, he just can't desist. He just can't stop himself. The Lord cannot stop himself. When the bhakta is calling with so much passion and so much bhakti and love, Narayana cannot desist himself from going to his bhakta. So that's where we were. I keep coming back to those the stories. We had been to Rishikesh, the Nochuranna story. It is Krishna would always go and steal the butter from all the gopikas. Right? The Krishna will keep going and stealing all the butter. Now the gopikas they will churn the butter, put all their effort, and after they have taken the beautiful butter, they know Krishna will come, so they will take it and they will put it in one matka, fill it up into one matka, put that in another matka, put that butter in another matka, and then all these matkas together, they will put it up on the loft somewhere, tie it up at the top somewhere, and they would have thought, now okay, it is safe, and they have gone out, and Lord Krishna will come at that time only, exactly when they are not expecting, when they are not seeing. He will come and somehow he will find out where that butter is, and he will take the butter, steal the butter and eat it. So this was told by Sridharji when we went to Rishikesh. So beautifully he narrated. And then he would say, there is another neighbor grandmother who has said, I have got butter for you. Okay, now you can come and take it. See. And he'll say, che, I don't like butter. I don't want this butter. So it is when we don't see, when we are least expecting, we have done all the effort, and that, that butter has been churned out. Now, what is this butter? This butter is the guhyam, or the secret in that milk. When you see the milk, you don't see the butter. It has to be churned out. That beautiful, white, light, fluffy butter has to be taken out. when that butter is completely ready and taken out and kept, and when nobody is looking, when that person who has churned it out, when they are not least expecting it, Krishna will come and take it. It's not like when that butter is churned and now I'm expecting him to come, he will take it and I will give it. He does not come. It is when that is being least expected, he comes and he steals it away like that. That churning that Dhruva does, he is just doing his tapas one after another, expecting, but he is not, he is just doing his effort. He is just doing his penance. He is just churning out that light, white, crystal clear, pure butter out of him, which is his guhyam, that beautiful nature, that purity of the heart, the chitta shuddhi, with the chitta ekagrita is that complete churning. And when that churn has happened and the butter, which is the rahasya within us, that has come out, then Narayana feels compelled to come and steal him away.
Yeah, so nice. It's very beautiful. I'm reminded of another story, which I heard today morning, happened to hear today morning. So it goes so well with this. Even we all think we are doing our sadhana, right? Many times we get caught with that we are doing. But actually it is his grace which is making us do the sadhana. And sometimes we also get caught with, okay, I'm doing this, but how is he reciprocating? You know, I'm not getting anything. We get caught with the results. So like here, Dhruva, if you see, initially, yes, he started with an intention. But as he gets absorbed in that, it is only Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, which is there. The Narada's Upadesha, which is there, which is taken so seriously, and he's just in there, right? So like that, another interesting, like what Aarti said, I may think, okay, I'm preparing the butter and keeping it ready for Krishna. It may not even be ready, you know. It could be just it may not even have become butter, but I might be thinking Krishna. So like that. The story goes like, there was one guru, okay, who had a Sishya. That Sishya, I don't remember the guru's name, some guru. Okay, the Sishya, but the Shishya was very, very, very sincere in serving the Guru. Okay, but whatever the Guru would tell him, he was not able to understand all the whatever Guru would tell about the self-knowledge and all that. It was very difficult for Shishya to comprehend, to understand. But he would serve him sincerely. And the Guru, looking at his simple nature and serving all the time, had always, so much love for that Sishya. And it was time for Guru to leave his body one day, and that Sishya happened not to be around. So he writes something in the palm leaf, and then he gives it to his wife and says, once he comes, you give this to him. The wife says, all right. And then once the Sishya comes back, she thinks, okay, now that he is there, nobody else is there for me. Let me have this palm leaf with me. And then she said, Guru is gone, and the Sishya feels very sad. He said, Guru has told that you take care of me, the wife, okay, until I go or whatever. Then he says this he gave, but and asked me to give after, I don't know if she says about the palm leaf. He just, no, about the palm leaf, she doesn't say. She just has it with her. And she says, once now that he is gone, he told that you have to serve me. Then Sishya, very, with all his, love, with all his bhakti for his Guru, continues to do, because those are Guru's words. So he continues to serve. Guru's wife also takes care like his own mother, and until her end also comes one day. And as she was, again, when she was actually losing her life, this Sishya was not around. So she's thinking, oh my God, I spent so many years not giving this, whatever Guru's message to him. And there was someone, what do you call that? Kambang Kutadi and all, that those who, the gypsies kind, okay, who dance on the road, who do all those acrobats and all that. One group was coming on the street. So she calls one lady from there and says, you please give this to that who will come. And she leaves. She dies basically. And this lady waits for the Sishya, and then Sishya comes, and Sishya feels so sad for, the Guru's wife and all that. And then now this, with the palm leaf, she looks at the Sishya, and then she also doesn't have anybody else. She was also aging a little bit. So she thinks, and then, she keeps her, the palm leaf with her. And then she says, you know what he said? She said that you have to take care of me until I, take care of me till my, during my old age and all that, and you have to serve me. Oh, the Sishya, he was again, he continued with absolute no questioning, no complaints, nothing. He continues to serve. Now, Guru's wife, who is his mother figure, has told that he has to take care of this gypsy lady also. So he takes care with all his devotion, and he also, helps her when they do all these performances. He does that with the, musical instruments, some beat and all that. And he is there with her, supporting her all the time because she wanted some support. Okay. So it looks like it was in Mahabharata. That's what I heard. So it was a time when Krishna is coming along with Yudhishthira. Okay. And this, this road play is happening, street play is happening, and this lady is walking on the rope. Okay. And she was having that palm leaf in her, waist. So as she was doing something, due to the, some wind, the palm leaf just falls down, and the Sishya is, whatever beating his drums, he is doing that, and he is involved in the work. He's not even seeing the palm leaf which is dropping down. As it is dropping down, Krishna actually stops wherever Krishna and Yudhishthira were coming in a carriage. He stops there. He comes and he stands in front of the Sishya. Okay, and then as he was beating the drum, he suddenly stops because Krishna is there. And he looks at Krishna, and Krishna's feet is there. In front of Krishna's feet, that palm leaf, it reads, when you see this, the Guru had written, when you see this, you will see Bhagwan, Sakshat Bhagwan in front of you. Yeah. So this man looks, and then he looks at Krishna, and he completely surrenders to Krishna, and Krishna blesses him. So this is such a beautiful thing. So just with complete acceptance and surrender, with absolute no complaints, he has been in his work as a service, looking at Bhagwan in every life, completely that Guru Bhakti. And so at the right time, Krishna knew when to come and when to for his bhakta. So I think he had become a nice butter by that time.
Yep, maybe keep churning ourselves.
Yeah.
And
even
keep
while
the
churning,
ready.
yes, even while churning, that's what Nuchuran also says, no? Forget that I am doing this.
Yeah.
No doer. We have seen that many times. Bhagavatam is all about taking our ahamkara and mamakara. And, my kartrutva. The kartrutva bhava is the main thing. I am the doer. So, I think when we surrender the doership, initially, mechanically, and slowly, we see that surrendering. Only when that happens, actual sadhana, actually we start going closer to God. As long as, even if the sadhana, if I do it with the doership, I am sitting and chanting God's name for so many times, as simple as, okay, tomorrow I will get up and chant. Even just that thought, sometimes what happens, the next day I end up sleeping. So, Bhagwan, tomorrow, make me chant. Okay, so that chanting will happen so beautifully. So even those things, he says, we will have to drop the doership. Only then that butter happens.
Continue to read.
Yes, Narayana said, I will now go to him and make him desist from his tapas. It has lasted 5 months. 5-year-old boy for 5 months. I must bless the child who is my Bhakta. Narayana came to the banks of the Yamuna. Dhruva found his heart suddenly bereft of the image of the Lord, which he had been seeing all these days. He was roused from his samadhi, and when he opened his eyes, Dhruva found the Lord in front of him. The child was overcome by suddenness of it all. He looked at the form of the Lord as though he would drink him with his eyes. He held out his arms as if to embrace the Lord. His eyes were raining tears and his face were wreathed in smiles. He fell at the feet of the Lord and stood up looking at him, and still he kept on looking. His lips moved, but he could not speak a word, so he stood for a while. How beautiful is it? Narayana Bhattacharya also says, no, in Narayana, Netrai Shotraisha Pitva. He says, through my eyes and ears, let me drink your beauty. Right? It is like all the senses stop working logically. And the beauty is just, when we just drink, when we see Lord, oh my God, for Dhruva, how we would have been. Lord Narayana knew what the child wanted. Dhruva wanted to praise him, but he could not, since he did not know how. He knew not the words, and so Narayana gently touched the young boy's cheek with his conch, which was snow white and which is said to personify the Vedas. The moment the conch touched his face, Dhruva became enlightened. He became articulate. His words were those of rishis when they talk of the glories of the Lord. Mukam karoti vachalam, we say, no? It is indeed his power which makes all of us talk. Do I continue, Aarti?
Yeah.
Dhruva said, I salute you, who entered into me and gave me the power to speak. My Lord, my power of speech was asleep, and you gave it an awakening. You pervade the indriyas, the sense organs, and with your power, you give them life. You are the one truth. You create the illusion, Maya, and you, the creator of the Mahat and Aham Tattvas. You have created the Trigunas and the presiding deities of the Indriyas. And you enter these, all of these, and remain in them like fire residing inside the Arani. People who do not know the truth about you think this Maya to be other than you. Brahma was granted the vision which made him see the world like a sleeper viewing the dream from which he is awakened. How can anyone forget you, who is everything? You will rid man of births and deaths if he worships you. If ignorant men worship you and ask favors of you, favors like the gratification of small desires, then that man is really unfortunate, since he has been well and truly deceived by Maya. Having seen you, who is the Kalpavriksha granting immortality, if a man asks for pleasures enjoyed by the mortal body, is he not the most unfortunate amongst men? Too many things here.
Yeah. So when he says, I salute you who entered into me and gave me the power to speak. You, my power of speech was asleep and you gave it an awakening. You pervade the indriya, the sense organs, and with your power, you give them life. You are the one truth. You create the illusion, Maya, and you, the creator of the Mahat and Aham Tattvas. You have created the Triguna and the presiding deities of the Indriyas. So this you, where is this you? Who is this you? This Lord Vishnu, Lord Narayana, is in our own heart. not somewhere coming, seeing him through the antakarana. He is the one who is shining, who is that consciousness, because now that consciousness is that these eyes, these indriyas, are there even in the body, even when the consciousness leaves the body. Prana, even when the prana leaves the body. Correct? It is the consciousness which is actually completely lighting up, showing the world through the senses, through the indriyas, acting in the world like that electricity. The fan by itself does nothing. The light by itself does nothing without the electricity. All of these instruments, my eyes, my ears, my mouth, all of these instruments are powered by him, are awakened by him, and hence he is the only truth. And this world that we see is also his maya, only his imagination. Just like I dream. When I am dreaming, I am seeing this world in my dream. He is dreaming out this whole world, and I am part of this dream, this big dream, his imagination, his maya that has sprung out from him. And I am part of this maya, this illusion, and in this whole, where am I? When you look at it, in this big whole, where am I even? Is there even an I? And all of this has come from you, and all of this knowledge, that Brahma Vidya, the moment he sees the Lord, it is just pouring out of him. Five-year-old boy, not learned, but experiential, has met the Lord, and everything is just pouring out and he's speaking. And this knowledge is there. Narayana was there, is there in each one of us, like that fire residing inside the Arani. Not visible to the eyes after that churning, or, when you do that rubbing against the wooden, this thing, that's when the Arani, the spark comes out. The same process brings out Narayana. Only thing for us is our dedicated, sincere effort, which we start, basically our dedicated, sincere sankalpa. And after the sankalpa, the effort happens. Brahma was granted the vision which made him see the world like a sleeper, viewing the dream from which he is awakened. How can anyone forget you who is everything? You will rid man of births and deaths if he worships you. If ignorant men worship you and ask favors of you, favors like the gratification of small desires. Yes, now in that state, when you're there, you don't want any of the material, you don't want to ask, you don't know. It doesn't seem to have any meaning, because this whole thing is his maya. I'm living in his maya. Now, when I know that this is all his maya, then what is there to ask in this world, in this material world?
So, what is this Maya? So, why we say his Maya? The consciousness which is there, when we at this level think I am just this body, forgetting that inner power which is actually giving power to everything, then I get caught in Maya. I give reality to this. I think I am this, okay, this body and set of thoughts, and and then I see the other. Okay, and this is the world. Whatever I come in interaction with, all this is my life, and I'm here caught doing everything that is needed with absolute no attention given to that consciousness, right? Which is there enlivening everything. To the Supreme Lord, when I do not give attention, then I am in that Maya. That is why Bhagavan again and again and again in Bhagavad Gita says, surrender to me, surrender to me, surrender to me, because the more and more I try to find in this, it is very difficult. Okay, because I have not paid attention to that force which is actually orchestrating this entire world of Maya or dream or whatever we call. But the moment our attention turns to him, that is what, in Dhruva, what has happened here is complete attention to Narayana. The moment the attention, we don't even have to go till Dhruva's, even little bit of attention turning to him, then slowly, 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 we start seeing Bhagwan's hands in everything. Okay. And in that, as we start seeing Bhagwan's hand in everything, we come to realize that who is this? Something I am thinking, who am I? This I, who is this I? And we lose, that I is lost. And it is only Bhagwan who is there. So when that comes in, that is when slowly, we are not deceived by the Maya, and Bhagwan starts driving our life. Until then, we are completely deceived by Maya. So when I am in this Maya chakra, I think I'm going to get happiness when my children get good, college admission, or when they get married, or when they get good grandchildren, when they are healthy, so many other things, right? So why do I ask these things to Bhagavan? Because I think all these is going to give me happiness. But actually what happens is, only when I turn my attention to Bhagavan, when I am out of this dream called Maya, when I do not give Satyam, when I do not give reality to this, yes, then slowly this whatever birth, death, cycle, my fears, everything doesn't matter at all. It just falls down, crumbles down. And then only Narayana is there. So at that time, that's why it is said that only for the one who has become like that butter, Narayana also comes and says what you want. He doesn't come and ask someone, who is like, give me this, give me that. Narayana, there's no Sakshatkara for us. But for Dhruva, who really doesn't have anything to ask, and Narayana is there and asking them what they want. Any thoughts, anything that anybody wants to share here?
Today we have very few people. Somebody else wants to read, the rest also we can do that.
Yeah.
Anybody wants to volunteer to read? Please just unmute yourself if you can, or raise your hands. Okay. Yes, please unmute yourself and turn on your videos too if you can. So.
Hi, ma'am. My video is off, but I can read.
Sure.
So where should I start from?
The ecstasy.
Okay. The ecstasy which one experiences by thinking on you and by listening to your stories about you, stories related by your bhaktas, is even greater than the Brahmi state, which is nothing but bliss. As for ordinary mortal, man who exists for pleasure only, he is like one sailing in a chariot which has been hurled suddenly to the earth by a sweep of the sword named death. He will never know the ecstasy of knowing you. When even the Brahmi state cannot equal the joy achieved by the thoughts of you, Do I have to mention the unfortunate condition of men who live in the world of pleasure, thinking it is great joy, and who die when their time comes, like dry leaves falling from a tree? Please grant me only this, that I will think on you night and day, and grant me the company of noble souls who are your bhaktas. In the company of such people, listening to your glories all the time, I can become drunk with joy. And so I come across the fearful, pain filled ocean called birth and death without any trouble. Shall I continue, ma'am?
We will just stop for a few minutes. Thank you. So for an ordinary mortal man who exists for pleasure only, right? So there are people, right? They are wondering, why is all this needed? I am very happy in that life. It is nice. I have comfort. I like to die. I am able to do what I like to do. I'm able to get the pleasures. I'm able to do all of that. This is like an acquired taste. Only someone who has walked this path, who turns around and then gets to feel the ecstasy of this. Even, at the beginning level, when you start walking this and you listen to the glories and something behind, something which is beyond whatever material joys can give. Material joys are so impermanent, right? And as long as there's only so long that you can have, enjoy that. The moment this ecstasy is somewhere experienced, that experience seems tuchha. It becomes less, and you want more and more of this. It is like that acquired taste. No, you have to experience it to know it. You can never tell somebody how beautiful this is. We can just say how it is beautiful for us and how we find a lot of joy. But until that person actually experiences and walks this path, they don't know the beauty of this path, the ecstasy that is there. And then once this ecstasy is known, that gets dropped automatically.
Yeah. So see how beautifully here we see the compassion of Dhruva also coming out. They say, as when someone has experienced that bliss, he is looking at people who are still caught. We feel like, oh, they are there, they are not able to experience this. That compassion is very beautifully brought out here. So and he asks, okay, let me not again get back to that. So for that, what is a very important thing he asks is, grant me the company of noble souls. So bhakta, the company of bhaktas, it is very important, because mind, it is habituated for us. If you see, it is just a bundle of habits, right? The samskaras or vasanas, we say. So it can fall into back to its track very easily. Yes, more and more and more we habituate our mind to be in, talking about Bhagwan, this Leela. Why do we have so many? Like Kunti Mata says, right? You take avatara, few people say you take avatara to establish dharma. You take avatara to kill the asuras. You take avatara to, spread the name of bhakti, whatever, all those things. But according to you, Krishna, you take avatara to show your leelas, so that we can just keep admiring and talking about it and relishing it all the time. Okay, the greatness of his leela, which is so beautiful. Krishna leela, we all know Krishna Katha, right? If it is, say, some other history of somebody, however great it is, we can maybe listen to such stories for a few times if we have really thought about this. But Krishna Katha, for example, take Krishna Gita, is stealing butter, and how many other times we hear from whoever it is, or keep reading, or even, watching it brings that joy. There is something beyond this material which is there in that, because it is Bhagwan who has done that Leela himself, isn't it? So that is the reason Kunti Mata also says, you have come here to give us these, this, so that we keep listening again and again and again, and we are always thinking about you. We are always in your thoughts. So Krishna says, last, when he gives lot of, declarations in 18th chapter in Bhagavad Gita, he says, Arjuna, Manmaya, completely fill your mind with me. Okay, Manmaya. Okay, Bhava Mad Bhakta, be my Bhakta. Okay, he doesn't talk about any final, all those declarations. Before Sarva Dharman Parityajya, he says these things. He says, Manmaya, fill your mind with me. Bhava Mad Bhakta, be my Bhakta completely. Mayaji Mam Namaskuru, whatever you do, okay, just do Namaskar to me and do. Basically, do it as serving Krishna, serving Bhagwan. So these three, if you do these three, I promise. Yes, he says, I promise that you will be with me always. See, he is declaring, he's giving us promises. I think even when we are children, we used to say God promise, right? So I think we must take these promises very seriously. And we must really, slowly develop taste for listening to this. Sometimes, we may, it depends, but then I think once we get the rasa out of these, listening to the stories, listening to the Leelas, Bhagavan, that itself is a beautiful sadhana to keep that bhakti alive always. So, and that is why the Sat Sangha is very important. It is said again, Nochurana says, Sat Sangha means being in the Sangha of Sat. We forget this individual, you and me. Yes, that truth is there, only truth is there, and we are in the Sangha of truth, Sat Sangha. When Sat Sangha happens that way, the bhakti just blossoms. Yes, and he says, no, I become drunk with the joy. So that is something, I think that is what we have to do. Just seek out always, for the Sat Sangha, and ensure that only Sat is there. There are no individuals and all that. Then automatically the bhakti just blooms. Listening to the glories all the time. Think with it. So then where is birth? Where is death? There's no individual. So no birth, no death.
Divaji, I think you can continue to read now. Or if somebody else wants to read, you please put a message, we will know. Sure, continue.
Ma'am, I think that it went up. When a man becomes happy, I will start from there.
Yeah.
When a man becomes happy in the company of your bhaktas, he will not think of this perishable body of his, nor about those who are dear to him. His wife and his children and his house, wealth and belongings mean nothing to him. As for me, I have been granted a sight of this, your form, but I am not able to comprehend your form as the Ishvara, the cause of the cosmos. It is therefore evident that my mind is not completely free of desires. I am not seeing the form of you which is sleeping in yoga trance after the great deluge. The entire universe is withdrawn into you, and your bed is Ananta, the other form of time. Out of your navel is born Brahma. I imagine that form of yours and prostrate before it. I am still.
Go ahead.
I am still the Jivatma, and you are the Paramatma. You are pure, and the Jiva is not. It is tainted with desires. You are knowledge, and the Jiva is ignorance. Avidya. You are life, and Jiva is inert. You are imperishable, while the Jiva suffers under the delusion that it is ever undergoing change. You are the ancient, and the Jiva is fated to have births. You control the gunas, but the Jiva is their slave.
I think we'll stop here. There's a lot to talk about here. Thank you. Can we go up a little? So here what it says is, when a man becomes happy in the company of your bhaktas, he will not think of the perishable body. So, and the point, in the third or fourth line, he says, I have been granted a sight of this form of yours, but I am not able to comprehend your form as the Ishvara, the cause of the cosmos. It is therefore evident that my mind is not completely free of desires. Okay, he has reached a state of samadhi where he has seen the glimpse of God, but he is still not completely rid of all his vasanas. The seed of vasanas now, it is because of the seed of vasanas. Now, vasanas are those impressions that we collect over many. That is our nature, which makes us a jivatma. The vasanas are what gives a very individual flavor to us. I feel I am unique, you are unique, each one of us are unique. Our eyes are not, iris is very unique, our thumb impressions are very unique. Even at a physical level, I am saying our nature is very unique. Everything we are unique. Even if they are twins, they look very similar, they are unique. They will not be the same. And that uniqueness comes from the vasanas. That uniqueness of each jiva, the jivatma, is because of these vasanas. And these vasanas are what? It is when these vasanas are completely, it is the desire comes from these samskaras or vasanas that have been collected over many janmas. And that is why this janma has even taken place. And these desires come from these vasanas. So when the desires are still there, the vasanas are still there. And when the vasanas are still there, that complete dissolving, like a salt doll dissolves in the ocean with no trace of the doll, that does not happen. As long as the vasanas and the desire, because of the vasanas, the desires are also there. That salt doll has not completely dissolved. This is also one state of samadhi, but this is not the final dissolution into the cosmos. So this here, if you really see, even that is the reason when we go up, when he sees the Lord, what is he asking? He could have asked to say, I want to be with you. I don't want to leave you ever. I want to dissolve into you. But what does he ask for? He says, I want satsanga. I want to think of you all the time, which means he is still in the duality and seeking the duality. To put the whole thing in context, we saw first one was when we came to this, we are doing the canto 4 right now, the fourth canto, the fourth skanda. In the fourth skanda, the first story we saw was of Daksha Prajapati and Sati. Correct? There, so it was about dharma. What is dharma? This whole canto, that it is all about the Purushartha, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Purushartha, the human pursuits. As a Jivatma, what is that? There it was Dharma. Even when he did Dharma, he did not do the Dharma as a surrender to the Lord, as a Yajna. There was no Yajna spirit. He was performing a Yajna, but there was no Yajna spirit at all. He was doing the Yajna for himself. The Aham was there. It was not a sense of surrender to the Lord. Similarly, here, so that was what is the way to perform. That story showed actually, if you are following a pursuit of dharma, how should you do it? There has to be a complete surrender, even in that dharma. That is why then Lord Shiva comes and cuts his head and puts a goat head, in a way to say that that ego has been tamed. And then the yajna happens beautifully. That is the way for a human pursuit, to pursue dharma. Now here also he is talking about how to pursue artha. Now what was Dhruva's sankalpa? He wanted to be on the lap of his father, which also meant somewhere him getting the kingdom. He being the special one there. So he went out there. So the larger human pursuit here is artha. So in that artha, so he still has some desires in this Maya world. And that is why he says, I desire satsanga, I desire to be thinking of you. May you bless me to be able to think of you at all point in time while I am living in this world, rather than saying, I just don't want anything, I want to be with you completely. So that is moksha, when you desire that. But so this is clearly artha. I am living, but I am. This is the highest way of pursuing artha. In whatever artha work we are doing in this world, in our duties, never forget him, never forget his name, be in Sat Sangha, like what Bala said, Sat Sangha, Satya, be in the Sangha of the highest reality of the truth at all point in time as we are performing our human pursuit of artha.
Very nice. Yes, artha pursuit. Here I would like to share. I think we will see that later also. It comes in Bhagavatam, but because it is here, Dhruva is also talking about it. So, see, 3 stages of bhakti, he says here. See, the first one, where he gets the sakshatkara of that antaryami. Okay, what has Dhruva got now? That inner, the self, he understands that it is that inner, it is Bhagavan who is powering me. And he has realized that. Okay, so as an individual, at the individual level, that is what Dhruva, what he says, I've seen this form. So because of that, his realization is, all the indriyas are powered by you. That's what he says, right? So that has become his experience. But now, at the cosmic level, as a Paramatma, his experience is still not there. He says, I am not able to comprehend you as the Ishvara, the supreme controller. Okay, so the first, they say, as a Bhakta, we all, there is one stage called Prakriti Bhakta, which is like, we all have that within us. We all worship Bhagavan. We all seek him in some way or the other, in some form, in some murti, in temples. Yes, all that. That all, I think all of us have that in our. So that is by nature, Prakriti Bhakti. Then slowly, as that, becomes more and more true for us, okay, we realize that we start get tuned with that antaryama. Okay, and in that, this individual ego dissolves and antaryaman is shining. Okay, that's where now Dhruva is also. So there, what happens, the moment that is happening, it's not like it is, slowly when that antaryaman gives the darshan, that's why they say, all bhaktas, they get the darshan, but then it is not there. It goes and comes, it goes and comes. It's again at the plane of the mind. Okay, so the chitta is becoming so pure and the darshan is happening, the visions are there. And that, we become a very pure instrument in his hands and it works. Okay, but still there are some desires. That's what here also it is said, like beautifully he said, there are desires. So at that time, we are able to see the power of that, that power playing around everything. We are able to tune and see, but still that individuality is still there. There is that desire. So when then, but even this Madhyama Bhakti is when total surrender is there. Yes, we are able to feel compassionate for those who are not still in the bhakti path or whatever, who are still not, are completely stuck in Maya, and we seek satsanga, right? And we are joyful, we understand that there is no joy, that vairagya is there. So this Madhyama Bhakti, where I am the Jiva and, there is this, that Jiva identity is still there. Okay, that is Madhyama Bhakti. Okay, but even Madhyama Bhakti is a very high level of Bhakti because the Chitta Shuddhi is so beautifully happening there. Okay, But it doesn't mean that we don't go to temples. That I mean, it's not. It doesn't negate the Prakrita Bhakti. Here, Prakrita Bhakti is done with bhava, complete bhava. Okay, so that is Madhyama Bhakti. And then they say it is the final Bhakti is where there is no jiva, like the Ramana Maharishi, if we one example, where there is absolute no individuality. It's entire, everything is self. Shukamuni. Shukamuni is in that, right? Complete. There is no, so he is in that, everything is self. So here Dhruva is in that Madhyama Bhakti. And he has still not reached the Uttama, the final Bhakti. Again, Bhagavan says the one, so Bhagavatam is there for us. Bhagavatam is all about first tuning to the Antaryaman within. And once that Antaryaman within is there, we start realizing that it is just that Antaryaman which is there in everybody, where, you know, everything looks like a Leela. And slowly, slowly, Bhagavatam takes us to a point where we realize, oh, there's no individual. There's only him. There's only Bhagavan who is there. That is that big self. And whether this cosmos is there or not, only when we realize that, I think only Bhagavan knows. So these are the three stages. So Dhruva is now here in this, and still to free of his desires, he is taking this path of devotion and fulfilling his artha, pursuing his artha. Later he rules, right, for many years, 10,000 years.
Should we just finish reading the rest of it?
Yes.
How much is there, Pala? Will we finish this chapter? If we finish reading? No, it's big, no?
You can
Or we
finish
can
reading.
finish reading, yeah.
Yes. So in that bhakti, just to finish that Uttama Bhakti. Okay. Again, coming to this final chapter, 18th chapter. This is the verse where Bhagavan says about Uttama Bhakti. Okay, where there is no individual self, only Bhagavan is there. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. Yeah. All the Bhuta is Brahman only. Everything is Brahma. Purnamadha, Purnamidam, Purnat. We say, right? Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. So, it's completely joyful, Satchitananda, right? Na shochati, na kankshati. No desires, no grief. Samas sarveshu bhuteshu. So the darshana is sama. There is absolutely no difference. Okay, no duality at all. It is not possible to get into the level of duality for Bhagavan. That is why Bhagavan cannot be partial. We keep hearing, right? There's no duality for him. Samas sarveshu bhuteshu. Then he says in that list of promises, no? So his declaration, Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param. So the one who is like this, whose vision is Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, who never grieves, who doesn't desire at all, na shochati na kankshati, samas sarveshu bhuteshu, who for whom the entire world is same, is everything, it's the same thing. Yeah, Mad Bhaktim, that bhakta of mine, Krishna is saying, Labhate Param. He is the highest bhakta. Okay, who is one with me, basically, who is Bhagavan. But there is no distinct between the Bhagavan and the bhakta. Yeah.
It's time. We will close, I think.
Yeah, I think we'll close with this.
Just mark
Uttama
it.
Bhakta.
Uttama Bhakti. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bad Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you so much, madam.
Thank you.